Hello, everybody. Dan McTeague, President, Canadians for Affordable Energy, coming to this morning. In fact, this afternoon, depending on where you are in the country, over comments made on Tuesday by our Energy Minister, Jonathan Wilkinson. He says that Canada needs an all-power grid, an all-Canadian power grid. And of course, that comes as rather interesting comments in light of the tariff imbroglio in the United States and the deadline in the next 30 days. Somehow he wants us to diversify our pipelines and our economy. Look, I want to call this out for what it is. It's absolute brazen hypocrisy. Coming from a guy who only last year was behind Justin Trudeau when the Chancellor of Germany came in to look for oil and gas, but they offered them some hydrogen in Stephenville, Newfoundland. Of course, that project is now defunct, gone, history. No one thinks there's a future for hydrogen, especially given the Prime Minister and Mr. Wilkinson and his colleagues like Stephen Guilbeault thought there's no business case for oil and gas. But what's really egregious about Jonathan Wilkinson and the Liberal Party stance is that they suddenly want to send our energy to other parts of the world, not just the United States, so as to reduce our dependency and lessen the likelihood of an impact, which has very little to do with energy, a lot to do with our border problems and, of course, our drug fentanyl problems. I won't talk about that because I think that's for another day. But let's understand something. Jonathan Wilkinson lives in a riding in Vancouver where gasoline prices are $1.93 a liter this morning. I've done several interviews with Global and CTV on that subject. I can tell you that much of that is due to the fact that Vancouverites, like a lot of British Columbians, have barely tolerated the highest tax jurisdiction in North America. But I digress. What Jonathan Wilkinson presided over was an attempt last year to provide an environmental assessment regime on all pipelines, for all future pipelines. So if we were to build them, it'd be subjected to things that are relevant, like gender, like climate, and a bunch of other things. That, of course, was struck down by the Supreme Court of Canada, but not to be outdone. They have the Bill C-69 No Building Pipelines Act, which provides a number of restrictions on the ability to build. We know that the federal Liberals have scuppered the Energy East pipeline. We know that the federal Liberals under Jonathan Wilkinson and Justin Trudeau killed the Northern Gateway pipeline. And we know that they wouldn't stand up for an already approved pipeline called the TMX. As a result, Kinder Morgan threatened to sue their backsides. And what actually happened, rather than the company paying for that pipeline, which now is in full operation, you and I paid $34 billion because Liberals won't stand up for pipelines that will go to other markets other than the United States. Look, this is capital H hypocrisy by Jonathan Wilkinson and the Liberal cabinet and caucus. If they can't recognize the errors of their ways and that you have painted Canada into a significant corner by not allowing us to build pipelines to get our natural gas, our oil, our LNG to the rest of the world, then you are delusional and kidding yourselves. But we know, and our followers know full well, that when it comes to presenting such a ruse, there is nothing as odd and ironic as Jonathan Wilkinson, the Minister of Energy, speaking out against the very energy that this country relies upon, to the tunes of tens of billions of dollars every year in revenues, net revenues generated for the federal government. So I say to Jonathan Wilkinson and his trendy friends and woke friends on the green side, you've damaged the country, you've damaged our position, you've weakened Canada. It is time for you to pack up and go. And if you don't want to do it, folks like us here at Canadians for Affordable Energy will continue to call you on this kind of blarney that you have been subjecting the country to for the past several years. It is time for you to go, and with it, your hypocritical stance.